A. Smith recently appeared on Bill Maher's podcast. And apparently there's like this back and forth between the two where Stephen A. Smith is trying to explain to Bill Maher why the Democrats lost. Now, Bill Maher is completely either clueless about the working class and the needs and demands of the people, or he's not clueless and he just pretends to be. But one thing that was very clear from this particular conversation is that Stephen A. Smith is pointing out some of the things that happened inside the Democratic Party that we've criticized before on this show that Stephen A. Smith, or excuse me, that Bill Maher just did not seem to pay attention to. Let's get started with the first part here.
Guys, let's get it.
That was an ass kicking. It really, really was. And when you see stuff like that, you know, Canelo Alvarez, Triple G.
Sounds like what happened to the Democrat.
How about that? You know what? And that was an ass kicking. That was, if we're being honest about it, it was a thorough ass kicking. Ain't no way around it, Bill. I mean, you know more politics than me, but damn it, a blind man could see the Democrats got their ass kicked. Yeah, it was like, you know what? I like that analogy. Democrats similar to Terrence Crawford, Errol Smith Jr. Yep, that works. I mean, it was that kind of ass.
And that's kind of how I saw it too. I know now people are like, oh, we're still counting these votes and we're saying that, oh, it actually wasn't a landslide by Trump. Whatever. He won every swing state and he won the popular vote. I don't give a damn how close it is. You guys shouldn't have lost. like literally, if you did things effectively and you did what you should have done and you had a working class message, you would not have lost that campaign. Now, as much as they wanted to point fingers at Donald Trump and call him a felon and all these other names, at the end of the day, what does that say about you? And I said before about using that term in a derogatory way could turn off people, particularly from the Black community, make some people feel some kind of way. But what does that say about you? You, for the second time, couldn't beat a reality TV star, businessman, dude, like felon that you continue to call him. What does that say about the Democratic Party? So yeah, he won every swing state. They got their ass kicked. I agree with Stephen A. Smith about that.
It won't work on a lot of people like me who don't know who these people are.
Right.
Why do you think it is that boxing became a sport that I was always interested in when it was Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier and even up to, who got his ear bit off?
Mike Tyson, Holyfield.
Tyson, Holyfield. Right. And it's been years now. Is that because UFC?
Combination of two. Number one, you can, and I love the fact that you made that analogy because the kind of ass kicking that the Democrats just received is similar to a lot of that stuff.
What do you think they should do about it?
The Democrats?
Yeah.
How about listen, I like Wes Moore, governor of Maryland, but you have, to use your baseball analogy, you have no bullpen. Who is it? Trump's been the Republican nominee since 2016.
Pause. So a lot of people keep bringing up this Wes Moore character. I told you guys, these are puppets. Wes Moore, Cory Booker, John Fetterman, they all got one thing in common. That tends to be AIPAC. So don't fall for that game. Just because he's a Black guy, a Democrat, and he wanted to push back against, negativity about marijuana and all that kind of stuff. Again, JB covered this on his show very well, that Wes Moore's plan there in Maryland for releasing, if I remember correctly, those that had been convicted for marijuana possession or distribution. JB broke it down very well on his show where he explained it's really not what people are trying to make it out to be. So make sure you look a little bit deeper into that. But notice everybody's saying the same things. How many people have you seen so far that keep saying Westmoreland, John Fetterman, Cory Booker? They keep pushing out those same names to get it into your heads so that you'll start to think that these should be the candidates as well, without even looking into where they stand politically and where they stand on the issues and what they've actually done legislatively. So I disagree with that. I agree with him saying they didn't have a bullpen.
Yeah.
Okay. It is clear that that's who conservatives want in the White House. Okay. That's who they supported. They didn't give a damn about 34 indictments. They didn't give a damn about 2 impeachments. They didn't give a damn about all the legal issues and the lawfare that the Democrats engaged in. They said, Joe, that's who we want. This is the difference. And I said this to a lot of people, Bill. The The conservatives said, we want that guy. That's who we want. And the voters decided who the Republican nominee is going to be.
Here we go.
When you look at the Democrats, they didn't do it with Obama. That's true. Okay.
Didn't do what?
They greased the skids. This is the person we want. It's her turn. It was Hillary's turn in 2016. All right, Biden.
Well, that's not Obama. Obama earned it.
No, that's why I said he earned it. But in 2016, and I'm not even trying to imply.
They voted. Hillary ran in the primaries.
I'm not even trying to imply that she. But remember, they were complaining that Bernie Sanders had some momentum and was compromised by the Democratic Party because they were saying it was Hillary's turn. Bernie
Sanders, I love him.
Pause. The point that Stephen A. Smith is trying to make to Bill Maher, who apparently has either not been paying attention or he has and he just don't give a damn, is that Kamala Harris was selected. She was not a part of the 2024 Democrat primary. RFK was, Marianne Williamson was, Dean Phillips was, Cenk Uygur were. They were all a part of that. But the DNC decided that they would not hold any debates. They said Joe Biden is our candidate. And so it was kind of like a done deal. That being said, Marianne Williamson and Dean Phillips were on the ballot for the Dem primary, and they did receive votes. RFK had left the Democratic Party by that point in time, so he was not on the ballots for the primary process. But the selection, Donald Trump ran through the GOP primary. He didn't participate in the debates, and I said, I disagree with that. He should be there at the debates. All of the candidates should have been there at the debates, but people voted during the primary and said, okay, this is who we want. He won the nomination. Nikki Haley didn't. Kamala Harris did not participate in the 2024 Dem primary. Joe Biden just endorsed her after Barack Obama and Nancy Pelosi did not want her because they didn't think that she could beat Donald Trump. They wanted an open primary process. Joe Biden jumped the gun because he was pissed because they were pushing him out of the race and endorsed Kamala Harris. And that's how Kamala Harris became your nominee. And they want people to pretend like this didn't happen, like we didn't see this. And Stephen A. Smith is correct about what they did to Bernie Sanders in 2016, taking delegates that were supposed to go to him and giving it to Hillary Clinton just because that's the status quo person that you want. Now, again, as I've said, I have a lot of criticism for Bernie today, and Bernie should have spoken out about that back then, not on Theo Vaughn's show now. You should have spoken out about that back then at that time. Instead, he got on the campaign trail and went out there to help Hillary Clinton win. And the woman till this day still claims that he's the reason why she didn't win. So these are things that need to be considered. Now, Bill Maher's like, I like Bernie Sanders, but
he's too far left, and he would have been a bigger disaster than Kamala was.
That's fine. But what I'm saying to you is still in all, Bill, what I would, it's rare that I disagree with you. What I'm saying is the only thing I will push back on is that's fine, but that's for the voter to decide.
Right.
That part right there. It is for the voter to decide. And second of all, I don't agree that Bernie Sanders is too far left. I'm to the left of Bernie, and there are other people that are to the left of him as well, especially when it comes to foreign policy. Let's remember, Bernie won't even call Gaza genocide. Bernie Sanders approved the funding to Ukraine. So we're not even, regardless of where you feel you stand politically, this idea, and I worry about the podcasters who are pretending to give off this independent atmosphere, convincing people that left policies or what we will refer to as populist policies can't win when exit polls show the exact opposite. When you see populist policies winning in the states. So I push back on that heavily, but I'm noticing a trend of independent podcasters, or so-called independent. They say they're not corporate media, but they're still repeating corporate media talking points. So they're appealing to a different audience because they're like, look, I'm in a chill room. I'm just chilling here with my tequila, my friend and my buddy, and we just doing the damn thing. Don't worry about me. We're just down, just chilling, just two homies, right? We're not on corporate media. So they are gaining an audience that is looking for that type of discussion, something more relaxed, something more independent, but they're still using corporate media talking points. And that is something that I think is even more dangerous than just looking at corporate media. We all know corporate media is trash. We all know corporate media lies to you. What's even more dangerous are the people who pretend that they're not corporate media and they have an independent media atmosphere around them, and they are convincing people that their thoughts and their opinions are their own when they're actually repeating corporate media talking points. Something to think about. Pay attention to that. Don Lemon is a perfect example of that.
A lot of times the Democratic Party seems as if they've got their claws in the mix. Take Biden, for example. Okay, so, you know, Clyburn helps him get through South Carolina. He ultimately goes to the Democratic nomination. He's the Democratic nominee for the president. He ultimately wins the election. There was supposed to be a red wave in 2022 in the midterms. The Republicans didn't pull that off. And Biden is feeling himself and saying, I ain't going anywhere. I'm not going to. I told y'all I was going to be a transitional president. I told y'all I was going to be a one-term dude. I'm just here as a stopgap to pave the way for the future of the Democratic Party. And then all of a sudden, he in office taking that power.
He was a veritable John the Baptist. Just the guy who goes before.
Come on, bro.
Absolutely.
Bill, the point is that your ass was going to be 82 years old in the White House. Come on now. And then I'll never forget this. Bill, I swear to you, I love your show, Real Time. I'm a huge fan. I watch it every chance I get. I have never.
No, real fans watch it every week. You watch it every chance you get. I'm just fucking with you.
Because I got multiple jobs. But here's the deal, Bill. But I TiVo it. I tell you that much. The DVR it, rather. That's TiVo, DVR.
I'm going to send you a telegram about that.
You told him myself. Here's the deal.
A lot of ass kissing, huh?
Man, I have never wanted to be on your show more than I wanted to be on your show when Biden announced that he was going to run for re-election. Because I'm like this, what y'all going to say now? This is some straight bullshit. You got a situation where you won the midterm. You denied, you halted, you warded off the red wave, and you, knowing you're going to be 81 at election time, knowing you're going to be 82 in office, right? It wasn't the midterm. It was when the State of the Union address took place. And I saw these people. Remember, the liberals, so when you call yourself progressives.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're looking forward with a dude that's going to be 82 and would leave office when he's 86. Really, y'all? I'm sitting there like, you got to be shitting me.
But what we found out later on is that they actually came to Joe Biden last year asking him to drop out. Right? Joe Biden really wasn't supposed to be a part of a second term. But, you know, I think, again, there's this thing called pride. And there's also this thing called ego. Maybe you're familiar with it. Joe Biden decided to die on this damn hill, where he knew damn well he refused to acknowledge the internal polls. He said he didn't believe it. He knew damn well he was not going to beat Donald Trump this time around. So pride is a very ugly thing, ladies and gentlemen.
What you talking about? And I'm like, I knew I wasn't voting for Trump. I knew that wasn't going to happen. But I was saying to myself, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? And then I looked at their bullpen and they had no one. They had no one. They had no one that could compete with Donald Trump.
Well, not on a charisma level.
Fair. Okay, fair enough. No, but charisma is what gets you votes, bro.
Yeah, Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, charisma is what gets you votes. Charisma and also having, I would say, a populist message. Now, he also said this on The View, and I want to bring this to you guys' attention because they seem to be shocked when he brought this up, that he saw the Trump win coming a mile away. Listen to this. And I think a lot of us saw this too, right?
I was surprised at how lopsided it was. I was not surprised by the outcome. Mm-hmm. Right. I saw the outcome coming from a mile away. You have to take into account, listen, we respect our president, Joe Biden, but here's the reality. he got into office. He promised to be a transitional president, to be a stopgap to pave the way for somebody else to come on board. Into the midterms, it was supposed to be a red wave. It did not happen. The Democrats was flying high. He felt the momentum because he was the incumbent. And instead of leaving, he decided to stay. When he decided to stay, the Democrats were in a quandary because they were expecting him to leave. Now,
I want to say something really quick. It wasn't a red wave, but the Republicans did gain back the House. So let's not forget about that. Like, they were able to have the House, and that matters when it comes to passing legislation.
He wants to stay. They're around him. They're seeing the fastball has dissipated to some degree. They're seeing that he's not what he used to be. And what do you do about it? You grease the skids. There's no primary for him to experience. You let him go on stage June 27th, and clearly he was exposed. 3.5 weeks later, he's forced and compelled to step away because donors to the Democratic establishment, they were not going to support that. And then Kamala Harris is inserted. I don't blame her one bit.
Same.
I thought she did a phenomenal job.
Yep.
No, she didn't. So do you see, this is why someone like Stephen A. Smith still gets to come on to this show, because he's not willing to point fingers at Kamala. There's certain people within the political space, more so as I can say the Democratic Party, that you're not really supposed to criticize. If you still want to continue to get like onto these shows like The View, if you want to go on to Bill Maher, there are certain people where there's like this unspoken rule. You're not really supposed to criticize Kamala Harris. You're not really supposed to criticize Barack Obama. There have been people that have been blackballed for criticizing Barack Obama, people that have been, written off completely after criticizing Barack Obama before it was popular to do so. Tavis Smiley has spoken about this multiple times, right? And Tavis Smiley has been a journalist for years in the space. So this is how he continues to stay and to float within that space. Whatever he might do, let me make sure I don't put any blame on Kamala Harris. Now, here's what's funny. He says none of it was her fault, but on his show, on his podcast, he blames her having too many celebrities. He calls that out. He calls out Oprah. But on The View, he says none of it was Kamala's fault. Does anybody find that to be a little bit strange? Because he's talking to the audience. He knows, in this case, how to read the room. He knows who he's talking to. So what he said on his podcast, he's not going to say on The View.
She did what she could, but you can't overcome that kind of situation. And remember, there's two C words that are incredibly important in America. Capitalism is one. Competition is another, because it's a metaphor for capitalism in a lot of people's eyes. Because you were inserted, even though you were the vice president and it was the Biden-Harris administration, you had folks who are independent. I'm not talking about those on the right. I'm not talking about those on the left, just independents, who said, wait a minute. She didn't experience a primary either. And the last time we saw her in a primary was 4 years ago, and she didn't even make it to Iowa. They used that as an excuse to point to her level of inexperience. Then you got the war in Russia.
I don't think that was an excuse that was used. I think that was just fact, which is that she was selected.
In Ukraine, you got the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, Hamas and Hezbollah and all of that stuff. And you had Trump using codes. Look, do you want her? Where is she? Where's the interviews? Where's she showing herself? Where's the tough questions? Where's the interrogation? And he leaned on certain things. And you knew people were going to gravitate to that, because right now, as divided as our country is, fear comes associated with that. And because that fear was there, he fed off of it.
Yeah.
And people bought it, hook, line, and sinker. And that's why he's the president.
And Stephen, let me...
And we can stop it there. But one of the things that I wanted to say as well is that, but all those people didn't vote for Trump, though. That's the thing. People stayed home. I explained this already. I showed you the numbers. Black voters in Georgia stayed home. She lost the black vote. So again, it's my job to tell you what corporate media is not going to tell you, which is that she lost the black vote. And yes, she was selected. He's right about the fact that she was selected. He's correct about that. He's correct about them not having anybody in their bullpen. And then the people that you would point to, Gavin Newsom, come on. Going back to Cali, Gavin? No. Gavin Newsom has destroyed California. You want the person in charge of the country, the person who is the governor of California, the state that people are fleeing from? People are leaving California, moving to Texas and Florida. That's who you want to be president of the United States? No. Booty, no, Booty, no, Pete Booty. Stop it, Booty, no. You didn't do too well with black voters either when you were running in the Democrat primary for 2020. And black voters not really feeling you either, Booty. And people are talking about Wes Moore. He gonna have the same issue Kamala has, which is that a lot of people are not familiar with him. And also, anytime I see a lot of establishment people pushing a candidate, that gives me pause, because that tells me that that person is status quo. Look it up. Another AIPAC puppet. No. So like, who do they have? Who are these people? Who do you have? There's nobody. Someone came to me and they said, what about Gretchen Whitmer? Really? No personality having, smiles too big. Gretchen Whitmer. That's who you think is a good, after Kamala? You guys think Gretchen Whitmer is a good idea? No, Gretch, no. So I did. Lions Den said she said booty. No booty, no. So they don't really have strong people, right? Some people are pointing towards AOC. I think AOC would be, I don't think she could win either. And not necessarily because of the populist message. I think AOC, her difficulty is going to be winning back some of her base, like the people who were progressive that have moved away from her because of where she stood on certain issues. And I don't. I feel like they just keep trying to make something a thing that isn't a thing. And I don't think you should force it. I don't think you should force somebody into a position just so you can say we made this happen. The people are letting you know who they want. And it was very obvious that the people did not want Kamala Harris. Now you can point fingers at whoever you want, but the reality is no strong economic message. She was selected. The economy was a big issue, but she was pushed because that's who the donor class wanted. That's what you have to remember. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.